Trevor is back for the double dip on cybersecurity today with CrowdStrike.
Yeah, let's do it. So last time I checked a few minutes ago, this stock actually went up after hours. So that's interesting on such a down day. But CrowdStrike specializes, like I mentioned earlier, in endpoint security and cloud workload protection. Right now, its Falcon platform has 21 different modules that protect everything from desktop computers and servers that you have running on site to the applications and services that you have running in the cloud. It also includes tools for threat intelligence, fully managed security and incident response. And they just released their earnings after the market closed today. So let's take a look. Revenue came in at $380 million. That was up 63% on the top line. This is a software as a service business. So the subscription annual recurring revenue reached 1.5 billion. So ARR is 1.5 billion. That's up 67%. Non-GAAP earnings per share, 17 cents. That was a beat on the bottom line. Cash from operations was 159 million in the quarter, up 80%. The company now has 14,687 customers. That is up 75%. So they're still growing their customer base very quickly. Of those customers, 47% of the Fortune 500 are CrowdStrike customers. And I think 63% of the Fortune 100 are CrowdStrike customers. So a lot of large enterprises there. And they don't always provide their retention rate specifically, but they did note that it was over 120% in the quarter, as it has been for the last 15 quarters. So strong. They're seeing their customers spend more over time, and that's been a pattern. Highlights and concerns. So when you look at all of CrowdStrike's modules, 68% of customers are now using 4 or more modules, and that number has ticked upwards steadily over time. If you go back 3 years, it was 44%, and then up to 52%, and then up to 61%, and now we're at 68%. And management has mentioned that first module essentially covers their costs of revenue and then some. So when you start adding additional modules, it's basically all gross profit from that point. So you get this incremental profitability. And so it's good to see that adoption. In addition to that, the more you come to depend on CrowdStrike, the more modules you purchase, the stickier the platform becomes, the harder it is to replace all of that functionality. And on that note, the company CrowdStrike actually launched a Falcon Extended Detection and Response during the quarter. This is an XDR application, and this builds on one of its acquisitions earlier, the Humio acquisition. Humio specializes in log management or data ingestion. And so what XDR does is it essentially takes all the data from across all your infrastructure. So it's collecting data from endpoints, from cloud workloads, from networks, from email, and it's pulling it all together, running it through CrowdStrike's AI engine, and helping you predict and prevent threats like that. So this is a sort of end-to-end solution for security. It also, the XDR product integrates with Falcon Fusion, which is another new product, and Falcon Fusion is a framework for orchestrating automated workflows. So together, those two things help streamline and accelerate incident investigation, response, and remediation. And I think, moving towards that XDR application is a great strategy. That seems to be where the industry is headed. Also noteworthy, the International Data Corporation recognized CrowdStrike as the industry leader in endpoint security. Microsoft was also recognized as a leader, but CrowdStrike has 12% market share. Microsoft has 10%. So CrowdStrike's at the top of the industry there. And yesterday, the company announced that it's acquiring, or that it did acquire Secure Circle. And this is a software as a service company that specializes in data loss protection, or DLP. And right now, CrowdStrike's Falcon platform enforces zero trust at the device layer and at the identity layer. So they have, endpoint protection, and they also have zero trust identity that they build that out with their Preempt security acquisition a little while back. So this brings the data layer into the fold. So they now have the device layer, the identity layer, and the data layer. So that it just makes their protection more robust. I like that that move as well. Looking towards the next quarter, they're expecting 409 million in revenue. That was a raise. And in terms of non-GAAP earnings, they're looking for 58 cents per diluted share, also a raise. So this is a classic beat and raise. The stock has been hit pretty hard recently. I think it's down 30% or so from its all-time high, but maybe a good buying opportunity. I think this company is doing everything right.
Yeah, the Zscaler earnings and the CrowdStrike look very, very similar from just a consistency and growth and all the things you want to see. So I went back to before the coronavirus, January 1st, 2020. Would you have rather owned shares of CrowdStrike, Zscaler, or S&P 500?
I'm going to go with Zscaler.
You are a wise man. Let me share the screen. Now, if you'd have said Zscaler, that wouldn't, or CrowdStrike, that wouldn't have been bad either. CrowdStrike is a 4-bagger since January 2020, but Zscaler is almost a 7-bagger, where the market has gone up about 40% over that same period. So I don't think cybersecurity prior to the coronavirus, I think the coronavirus has absolutely, with everybody working from anywhere, I think has really helped these companies, give them a super tailwind. And it doesn't help that now it doesn't hurt that the government has come out and basically given some guidance that companies need to get on the stick from a cybersecurity perspective.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on there. I think a lot of the digital transformation initiatives like cloud computing were already a pretty strong tailwind for cybersecurity. But then now that we have all that remote work, I think that's just really emphasized how important it is to have those those systems in place. It's probably not something a company really wants to spend money on until it's too late. It's one of those.